Good morning, Houdat Nation, for the second time. This time it's myself, Brendan Boylan, my friend, my partner, my co-host, Bob Rose, with the Bayou Blitz halftime show. The Saints trail the Vikings 13-7 in London. And Bob, I have to say there were some positives, at least one drive worth for the New Orleans Saints offensively. It's the first time they've scored points in the second quarter all year. What an odd stat. And it looked like the Saints had some momentum and a potential to go down the field and potentially tie the game at 10. But the 10th turnover of the year for the New Orleans Saints. They lead the NFL. This time it's Andy Dalton being stripped, and the Vikings able to convert in the red zone and put up 3 points. Bob, some initial takeaways from the first half.
Well, first of all, Dalton's a seasoned veteran. He felt that pressure. He's got to be smart and get rid of the football. That was that's one sack that cannot be blamed on the offensive line. They got beat inside, but it was the coverage down the field that caused Dalton to hold on to the ball. But like I said, he's got to get rid of it. Otherwise, outside of the first two drives offensively, I thought New Orleans, like you said, Brendan, picked up a little bit of momentum on the offensive side. Dalton's moving the ball around well, throwing the football. Ingram seems to be picking up a little bit of traction, rushing the football, and it was really nice to see Latavius Murray, get involved as well. Would not be surprised at all to see Murray get more touches in the second half. Defensively, outside of that first Minnesota drive, which just made you want to pull every hair out of your head, I think the Saints have played excellent defensive football. They got to find an answer for Adam Thielen, though. They got to get either more physical with him at the line of scrimmage, bracket him, something. Because Thielen once again is killing the New Orleans Saints. Marshawn Lattimore has been on Justin Jefferson more often than not. Like you suggested that would happen on our pregame show. Lattimore's playing some good football on him, but like I said, the secondary has to find an answer for Adam Thielen. It is really nice to see the pass rush getting involved. They only have 2 sacks, but they have hurried Cousins on several other throws. And this New Orleans defense seems like they're really feeling themselves right now.
Yeah. I think the other thing too is, and they said it on the broadcast, is it goes so underrated. How much a big turnover can mean for a team in terms of swinging momentum. And we talked about it last week. We talked about it on the pregame show today that, Tyrann Mathieu hadn't had that moment yet. Mm-hmm. And you talk about a moment where the defense really baited the quarterback.
Yes.
And that was with a Debo going up on the out route. It makes it look like Irv Smith's got the seam, and then boom, Honey Badger's able to jump the route and really shot out of there like a cannon, gets both feet in. First interception of the year for the Saints defense, first interception of Tyrann Mathieu's New Orleans Saints career, and boom, all the momentum changes. The Saints are able to go down and score a little bit later. Chris Olave, first time he's found the end zone in his NFL career. Fantasy numbers still going well for Olave. Hope you guys read that article, that last-minute article I put out to start Olave this week. So there are a lot of positives here at this halftime that we haven't really been able to talk about in any other halftime show so far this year, Bob. Now, the downside is the Vikings were able to go 2 for 1 and grab 2 field goals there right before halftime. But New Orleans is getting the ball, and they do have an opportunity to not just tie the game, but potentially take the lead with a touchdown and an extra point. How do the Saints do that?
Even if they just get a field goal on the board, the offense has to sustain something. Like we just both agreed on, they look like they showed some signs of life, the New Orleans offense did through that second quarter, after not getting a first down at all through the first 15 minutes. They're going to have to do that again. I like the way Dalton is working the Minnesota defense from sideline to sideline, and that's opening up a little bit of running room for Ingram and Murray underneath. If you're Pete Carmichael or Dennis Allen, whoever's making the offensive decisions to open this drive, you cannot come out conservative. You have the Vikings defense on their heels a little bit, at least their secondary. I think you go after them. And I'm not talking with down the field shots or anything like that. I just think you keep the pressure on that secondary with quick rhythmic throws. Keep Dalton in a rhythm, you use the running game to complement your short and intermediate passing game. I think that's how they're going to move the football on the Vikings defense in the second half.
Despite some of the positives we've seen from the offense, we are still seeing some of the issues that have handicapped them through the first 3 weeks. Regardless of the result of this game, do you think there's a quarterback controversy brewing?
No, not yet. Even if, and I was asked about this, yesterday too. Even if Andy Dalton plays well, I think Dalton would have to do it for at least 2, if not 3 consecutive weeks to really make the coaches sit back and say, I think Dalton is a better fit for this offense than a banged up Jameis Winston. As of right now, win, lose, or draw in this one, when Jameis Winston is healthy, I think he's back in the lineup. But I don't know if that'll be next week or not. Remember, he's still dealing with that back injury. They got to fly all the way back to London. That makes it a tough work week for them. So it would not surprise me. In fact, I almost expect Andy Dalton to get a second consecutive start unless he really stinks out the joint in the second half. But even then, in my opinion, that's not necessarily terms for a quarterback controversy yet.
And looking into the second half, Bob, you mentioned New Orleans has to come up with points here on the first drive. They have to continue to sustain something offensively, but defensively, we've seen some pressure at the quarterback. We've seen a turnover or a takeaway created by the Saints defense. What does the Saints defense have to do to maybe even turn it up another notch against Kirk Cousins, Dalvin Cook, and company?
They got to keep up that aggressiveness and momentum. Like we said, they've got to find an answer for Adam Thielen. I think any major defensive adjustments that are taking place right now has got to be centered around that. Otherwise, you're just telling Demario Davis, Cam Jordan, Marcus Davenport, who are both of those ends are playing lights out right now. Keep up what you're doing. You have to keep Minnesota from gaining any momentum and any traction with their running game whatsoever. Dalvin Cook, as you pointed out in our pregame show, Dalvin Cook is one of the elite running backs in the NFL, and he has come this close to breaking them a couple of times. So there's no reason for Minnesota to give up on the running game yet. The New Orleans Saints defense has to give them a reason to do just that.
And offensively, if you're looking for one player to step up that did not in the first half, who is it and why?
I'd expect Jarvis Landry to be a little bit more involved. We talked about how we both like Dalton and the offense working the Vikings defense from sideline to sideline. One of those plays was a wide receiver screen to Landry, and the pass was just a little bit off target and well read by the defense. So Landry, didn't really get the ball on the run. I'd like to see more plays like that to Landry, Olave, and Deontay Hardy. But your 2 best receivers right now are Olave and Jarvis Landry. You have to get them involved. Whoever is not being guarded by Patrick Peterson, that's who you target first.
Well, the New Orleans Saints trail by 6 at the half, looking for their first victory since week 1. Andy Dalton leading the charge. Bob, real quick before we sign off here, down 6, if you have to change your prediction, what's your prediction now that you've seen one half of football?
Wow. I don't know. The New Orleans offense is doing exactly what I thought they'd need to do to be successful. Their defense is playing lights out. You'd like to see them get a couple more turnovers. I still think the winner of this game has somewhere around 24, maybe 27 points. But it's still going to be a defensive-oriented game in the second half.
I will take the Saints 21-16, very similar to my first prediction, but I think the defense does their job here in the second half. It's all the time we have here at the Bayou Blitz halftime show. Remember to check out Bob and I on Wednesday, the Bayou Blitz podcast. We have a real special guest. You can follow Bob Rose on Facebook and Twitter. You see it there. Bob Rose and Bobby R2613. You can follow me on Instagram and Twitter at BT Boylan. Hope you guys enjoy the second half, and we'll see you on Wednesday.